Welcome to Herbal Expeditions, where we explore all things gardening, herbs, and aromatherapy. Good evening and welcome to tonight's show. I'm so happy that you're here with us tonight. Last week I was away on vacation or visiting family, and I'm back and ready to roll with you tonight. Our topic will be Rosemary Revelations, unveiling the magic of this aromatic herb. Rosemary is an extremely aromatic herb, and we're going to talk about it and its use in aromatherapy. But before we get into the details of tonight's show, I'd like to give a thank you to our sponsors, Word on the Street, for allowing us to bring you such valuable information. So as we explore the therapeutic value of rosemary essential oil, I'd like to first give my disclaimer. I am not a licensed healthcare professional. Information that you receive here are for educational purposes only and based upon my personal experience and training. On this channel, we do not treat, cure, or diagnose. You are strongly encouraged to do your own research on the topics discussed here. As always, you're advised to discuss any new herbal regimen with your doctor, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, or taking any prescription medication. So let's get this party started with an herbal fun fact. The uplifting aroma of rosemary oil can help reduce stress and anxiety, promoting a sense of well-being. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. But before I really go into a deep dive in regards to rosemary essential oil, I thought I'd share something with you. Right here, I have what is called a aroma jewelry, and this is actually a necklace that I wear sometimes, and it has a clasp on it, or on the charm, it is a magnetic clasp, and inside that clasp is a felt disc that I use to place essential oils on it. And one of the uses of rosemary is to help with clarity of mind and to help with memory. And so tonight I thought I'd show you how I use this sometimes. So I'm going to start out by using some rosemary essential oil. Right here I have rosemary chemotype camphor, and we'll get more into the chemotypes as we study tonight's topic. So I'm going to place together a blend in two different ways. This necklace is used to for passive diffusion. When we diffuse an essential oil, that just means we're allowing the aromatic notes to go out into the air so that we're able to smell them so that we can have a therapeutic benefit. So I'm going to start out by placing 6 drops of rosemary camphor on the pad. It is a very thin oil, so it comes out quite readily. I'm going to supplement that with some peppermint essential oil. I'm using organic essential oils. Peppermint, as you know, is very stimulating and uplifting, so I'm going to take 4 drops of that. Then I will add 3 drops of lemon. Lemon is a very stimulating and uplifting oil. As you know, our citrus oils are very uplifting, and they're used typically for people who are suffering with depression is one of the uses for it. But I'm using lemon because it is very stimulating. And then I'm going to use cardamom. Cardamom, like rosemary, does have some 1,8 cineole components, chemical components, and that's another reason why I chose to use the cardamom is very strong, so I'm not going to use a lot of it. I'm just going to put 2 drops if the other one will fall. Actually, 1 will do. So there. And so when I don't want to have like a direct inhalation, but I want the effect of the oils, I will usually put them in a diffuser necklace and put that on me. That way I'm actually smelling the oils. And when I want something that is more direct, I might use a nasal inhaler, which is basically a plastic tube that has a cotton wick. And so I would put the same amount of oils on that and then use that to inhale within the nose. And if we're have some time left before the end of the show, I will complete a inhaler so that you can see me do that. But back to tonight's topic, which is rosemary. Rosemary has, well, let me slow down. I'm getting ahead of myself. The Latin name for rosemary is Salvia rosmarinus, and previously it was called Rosmarinus officinalis. Rosemary was the official oil that was used for medicinal purposes, but it has been since discovered by botanists that it is more closely related to sage than it was thought before. So the name has changed recently to Salvia rosmarinus. And quite often, even now, you might still see on some bottles, because it's a pretty recent change, on some bottles, they still might have Rosmarinus officinalis. And I want you to know that that is the same oil. The name just changed. We're going to start out talking about the three primary chemotypes of rosemary, which are Camphor, Verbenone, and 1,8 Cineole. And I have some of each. And the thing about the different chemotypes, we've talked about this on the show before, but I'll just briefly say that these plants are from the same species and genus. It just depends on the time of the harvest, whether or not there was a lot of rain that year. They really aren't exactly sure of all that is entailed in what determines the chemotype, but it's the same genus, it's the same plant, but it's just some years has more of one chemical component than others. And right here, I have some of the rosemary 1,8 Cineole. And primarily, this is used to support respiratory conditions. It can also be used for inflammation, like in your lungs and congestion. It has a very sharp smell. The smell of the rosemary chemotype 1,8 Cineole is very reminiscent of Vicks Vapor Rub. That very distinct smell that you smell with Vicks Vapor Rub, that is what you'll smell with rosemary chemotype 1,8 Cineole. Then there is rosemary chemotype Camphor. With rosemary chemotype Camphor, it is an extremely sharp smell. The camphor in it reminds me of maybe something like Bengay or one of those muscle rubs. And this is quite often used for inflammation in your joints and your muscles. And then also I have rosemary chemotype Verbenone. And this one is used a lot with your hair or skin for skin conditions. And this is a softer smell. This is a much, to me, in my opinion, is a much more pleasant smell when we are using the Verbenone type. So those are the three primary. And as I was doing my research, I found out there is one other chemotype that I'm not as familiar with, which is a-Pinene. And with a-Pinene, it is quite often used for pain relief. It can also be used for respiratory problems as well as anxiety and cognition. Anytime you see the chemical component a-Pinene in a high percentage in something, that will always be something that is good for pain and inflammation. Good evening, Valerie. I have a guest that's going to be joining me tonight, or is joining me tonight, and
Good
she will
evening.
be
How are
sharing.
you?
I'm doing just great. She will be sharing some of her experience with the essential oils and her experience with working with me as an aromatherapist. I'm going to give a few more facts, and then I'm going to have her to come in and just explain to you all what it has been like being a client of aromatherapy and some of the things that we've done together. As far as the rosemary, the aroma of rosemary, it can vary some from one chemotype to the other. I just kind of talked about that. The color of the rosemary is, it can range anywhere from colorless to a very pale yellow, depending on the chemotype. As far as fragrances, sometimes this is used in perfumery. And when it's used in perfumery, it is either a top middle note or a middle top note. So that means the scent can evaporate kind of quickly. This rosemary is steam distilled from the flowers and the leaves of the rosemary plant. I think a couple of weeks ago, I brought a rosemary plant in for you to see. Typically, the shelf life of rosemary essential oil is about 4 years. And when talking about safety, rosemary can be neurotoxic depending on the amount of camphor within the oil that you receive. Usually, as long as the camphor isn't over 20%, it's safe to use. If you are not a person who is used to working with essential oils, my advice to you would be not to use more than a 5% dilution when working with rosemary essential oil. A 5% dilution, which means no more than 6 drops per ounce. So if you have 6 drops per ounce, that is a 1% dilution. So you can go up to 5%. So 6 times 5 is 30. So no more than 30 drops inside a 1 ounce, which is very, very strong. I wouldn't even recommend that much, but you definitely don't want to go beyond that, a 5% dilution. And if you are pregnant or have epilepsy, it is best to avoid rosemary chemotype camphor because that could cause some contraindications. Due to the presence of 1,8 cineole, you are to avoid use of rosemary essential oil with children under the age of 5, and use very cautiously with children ages 5 to 10. I would not use it in their face or near their noses. Some of the therapeutic properties of rosemary is it is an analgesic, which means it's very helpful for pain. It is an anti-inflammatory. It will help if your muscles are inflamed. It can be used for antifungal and antioxidant purposes. It is also an antispasmodic, particularly with smooth muscle as a smooth muscle relaxant. It has antiviral properties. It is an astringent. If you have oily skin, it can help decrease the oiliness of your skin. It is a circulatory stimulant, so it can get your blood circulating and moving. So if you have, say, maybe some olive oil and you want to put a few drops of rosemary in, it can help stimulate or get your blood flowing and moving. It is a central nervous system stimulant. It can be used as a decongestant or an expectorant if you have a cold or you have some mucus. It is also considered to be a warming herb, also increasing your blood flow. The emotional and energetic qualities of this oil is it is stimulating and it strengthens the mind. It has been used with patients who are suffering with Alzheimer's. It has been used to support that condition. It is considered an energizing and an uplifting aroma. In fact, there have been times when I've been traveling on the road and I've made inhalers using a combination of rosemary and lemon. They are both very uplifting and stimulating. It really helps to keep me awake and helps keep me focused while I'm driving. Also, when it comes to the emotional qualities, it encourages clarity. Now, let's talk a little bit about the clinical application. Generally speaking, rosemary essential oil has been used medically as a general tonic, as a carminative, meaning helpful for the stomach. It has been used to heal wounds. Remember, I talked about there are some skin healing properties, and it can be used in your hair. It also stimulates growth when it's used as a part of the regimen for your hair. It is used to ease rheumatic pain as well as enhance memory and concentration. It is used to support dementia or mental fatigue, musculoskeletal issues, respiratory congestion with a skin and hair, as well as stress. And I talked very briefly, I made a statement about it being used in perfumery. Um, as far as perfumery is concerned, or the aroma, other herbal oils, it mixes very well with other herbal oils such as spike lavender, thyme, basil. It also blends very well with coniferous oils, meaning things like black spruce, your juniper, your fir, your different pines. Additionally, it mixes very well with sharp citruses such as lemon and grapefruit. This is a very versatile herb. It can be used in very many different ways. But since we were talking about the use of aromatherapy as far as rosemary is concerned, I asked Valerie to come in. I'm going to have her to come back into the show. And I'd like for her to share with you all a little bit about her experience being a client of aromatherapy. Valerie, could you tell us what your experience has been with what it's like to have an aromatherapy session when you're first brought into the process? What was that experience like?
Well, um, it was kind of a relief for me. I had
Mhm.
been dealing with different levels of pain that I later found out that were associated with arthritis. And so to know that there was something out there that was natural was a very much a relief. The process was very informative. You spend a lot of time really making sure I understood what was going on, what was the whys and the hows behind the blends that you were making. And I was really sitting here thinking about the number of different blends that you've made for not only me but for my family. And I can tell you now, my husband, who's recovering from knee surgery, is still using his pain relief blend and swears by it. And so just to be able to have some natural topical products. I'm outside getting ready to mow the yard. I used my inhaler before I came out to kind of deal with, allergies and things of that nature. And oftentimes we found that you may make a blend for one thing, but because the products are so versatile, we can use it like you made a cuticle soother for my son because he was biting nails, and then I happened to accidentally put it on a bug bite, and it was soothing that because it has so many healing properties in it. And so the I've really cut back on pharmaceuticals, and I'm looking really more holistic and natural and herbal ways of remedying things. I mean, it's there, and experts like you definitely can help lead the way and help us.
Thank you very much. When your initial Valerie was one of my case studies as I was studying aromatherapy. She was one of my case studies. So she had the opportunity to have several different blends done. But one of the things that I learned when I was studying aromatherapy is no matter how good a blend is, if a person doesn't like the smell of it, they won't use it. And so part of
Mm-hmm.
that process was for her to smell different oils and let me know whether there was a yay or a nay. Because the thing is, like she said, they are multifaceted. They can be used for many different things. So if she told me something was an absolute ugh, because the expression on people's face really lets
Mm-hmm.
me know whether or not they like the oil, whether or not they find it to be a very pleasant scent. And I make notes about those things to determine. And so blends that I make are specific to the individual. Would you like to speak on that a little bit, Valerie?
Absolutely. So I can speak, my son doesn't particularly like real citrusy things sometimes. And so when you made his inhaler, you were able to tone down some of the citrus, what I believe it was maybe some lavender or something else. And he had no problem reaching for it when he didn't feel well because he didn't mind. Actually enjoyed the smell of it. Now, he wouldn't have liked the one that was made for me or my husband because it had scents in it that he didn't particularly care for. So definitely the smells and that necklace that Shonda just talked about, which is still on my bucket list to buy, is one of the most amazing things, especially if you're in the helping profession. Because I found there were times where I was maybe a little elevated emotionally, and I would just be in her presence, and she'd be wearing one of them necklaces, and I say, "Okay, what do you have in there?" Because I can smell it, and I can know. I know it's working. And so, yes, definitely the tapping into the scent is crucial because the more it smells good to you, the more you're going to want to use it.
Absolutely. I think Valerie has had inhalers. She's had some kind of salve or something to that nature. I've done an oil for her
Hmm.
husband, an oil for her son. I think I did a linen spray to help with insomnia.
Sleep.
She has
Mm.
had several different products. So what I want you all, my audience, to realize is that there is an array of different products that you can use, and I can find something that is right for you. And so what she had was more like a individualized session. So they have individualized sessions, or you can buy something that is just what I call a shelf product. And having a shelf product, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a whole nother level when something is tailored for you specifically based upon your needs and your likes, the things that you would like to get. I see in the chat that says, where can we find the necklace and how much? Those necklaces are, I want to say about $15. I should have checked that, but they are on my website. I have several different ones. The one that I'm wearing has kind of like a tree or tree with roots. I have one that's kind of like a lotus. And so there are several different ones that you can have. Not only do I have necklaces, I also have like bracelets if you don't want something that is as close, because it doesn't seem like you would smell it, but you truly will smell them. In fact, a lady that works with me, Anika, says, I can always tell when you're in the building because when I come in the hallway, I can smell your oils. So I really want you to know that when I say to you that the oils work, they truly do work. And I just wanted, there's nothing like what they call it, receipts. So Valerie is my receipt tonight. She's
Oh
my
yeah.
proof that the
Oh yeah.
oils really do work. Yes, indeed. Valerie, I
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience tonight?
I would just say anybody that boost in the mornings, that shelf life, those shower soothers, shower steamers, they are amazing. I have family members as far as California asking me to send her products because they came, they tried, they had an orientation and they fallen in love with things. And these are people that, we're talking about people that are asthmatic, high blood pressure, dealing clear, all kind of health issues that we hear. These products are safe to use long as you disclose and let Shonda know what you're dealing with, what medications you may be taking. She can do her research, but there's nothing that we have tried that has even down to, she probably doesn't remember, down to some furniture polish, cleaning polish that she made. When I dust the house, I still use it.
Yes, I do make home products, things to clean with. Thank you so much for coming on tonight, Valerie. I do appreciate you sharing your experiences with our listening audience. So I hope you all enjoyed the show tonight. As always, I'm sending you peace and aromatic blessings from my home to yours. Thank you and have a good evening.